Have you ever looked around and wondered if anyone truly sees what you're going through? Not the surface stuff, the polite smile, the "I'm fine" you give when people ask. I mean the battles, the ones you fight behind closed doors, the nights where sleep never comes, the mornings when getting out of bed feels like lifting the weight of the world, the days you carry pain in your chest and still show up like nothing's wrong. Have you ever felt like you're screaming inside, but no one hears a thing? That feeling, that quiet storm inside you, you're not the only one who knows it. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're human. So many people are walking through life wearing masks, not to deceive, but to survive, smiling when their heart is breaking, helping others while secretly hoping someone might ask, "Are you okay?" And still, most days, no one does. There's a kind of pain that words don't always explain, a loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from feeling unseen. And when you're in that place where the silence grows louder and the world keeps moving without noticing, it can feel like you're disappearing. But here's the truth. The fact that you're still here, still pushing, still holding it together when it would be so much easier to give up means you're stronger than you think. And if you're willing to hold on just a little longer, you're going to discover something incredible about yourself, something life-changing. Because there's a version of you on the other side of this pain that will make it all worth it. You don't need a crowd to validate your efforts. You don't need applause to prove your strength. Some of the most powerful moments of growth happen when no one is watching. And if you stay with this message until the end, you'll understand not just how to survive the battle you're facing, you'll know how to rise from it. Because no matter how isolated you feel right now, no matter how heavy life has become, there's a fire in you that hasn't gone out. It might be dim. It might be buried under doubt, exhaustion, and fear. But it's there, and it's waiting for you to believe in it again. Think about this. Every time you got up when you didn't feel like it, every time you smiled when your heart was breaking, every time you kept walking when your legs were shaking, that was strength. That was you refusing to give in, even when it felt like you had nothing left. This isn't about pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about recognizing that even in your darkest moments, you are showing up. And that matters, more than you know. You might feel like nobody notices your effort, like no one understands your pain. But just because they don't say it, doesn't mean you're not doing something remarkable. Sometimes the quietest battles produce the strongest warriors. If you've been fighting with no one to talk to, if you've been holding back tears just to make it through the day, if you felt the weight of the world on your shoulders and wondered how much longer you can carry it, this message is for you, because you're not weak for feeling tired. You're not broken for needing rest. And you are not alone, no matter how convincing that voice in your head tries to be. Keep listening, because by the end of this journey, you'll remember who you are. Not the version the world sees, not the version that hides the hurt, but the real you, the one who's still standing, the one who refuses to quit, the one who is quietly becoming unbreakable. Hold on. Breathe. You're not finished yet. Your story isn't over. And the next chapter could be the one that changes everything. The world has a way of looking right through people who are hurting. It rewards the loud, the bold, the ones who seem like they've got it all figured out. But the ones who are quietly breaking, the ones who fight battles alone, with no spotlight, no recognition, no help, they're often ignored. Not because they don't matter, but because pain that isn't visible makes people uncomfortable. People don't always ask how you're doing. Not because they don't care, but because they assume you're strong enough. You look like you've got it handled. You're the dependable one, the one who holds others up. And so day after day, you carry a weight no one else even sees. It's like walking through a storm with no umbrella, while everyone else talks about the sunshine. But here's what they don't understand. Strength isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes strength is silent. It's the quiet voice inside that says, try again tomorrow. It's the choice to keep showing up, even when you're shattered inside. The truth is, you shouldn't have to carry so much alone. You shouldn't have to smile through suffering just to make others comfortable. But you do it anyway, because something in you refuses to give up. Something in you still believes, however small, that your life matters. And it does. If no one has told you this lately, let it be said now. What you're doing getting through each day is extraordinary. Not everyone sees it, but that doesn't make it less real. You don't need validation to prove your worth. You don't need recognition to make your effort meaningful. Just because the world hasn't clapped for you yet doesn't mean you haven't earned it. You may feel invisible, but what you're building inside, the resilience, the endurance, the quiet courage, those things are shaping a version of you that most people wouldn't even recognize. The kind of strength that can only be born in solitude. The kind of strength that never asks for applause. You are not here to impress. You are here to grow. And sometimes growth is painful. It's uncomfortable. It happens in the shadows when no one's looking, when everything inside you says to stop, but you keep going anyway. So let this be your reminder. You are not the struggle. You are not the mistake. You are not the burden. You are the warrior who carries all of that and still finds a way to rise. Think about how many times you could have given up. How many times life knocked you down and said, stay there. But you didn't.
You got up.
Even if it took time. Even if it wasn't pretty. You rose. And that matters more than you'll ever know. Pain has a strange way of teaching us things we couldn't learn any other way. It shows us who we are when everything else is stripped away. And if you're still here, still breathing, still fighting, it means there's a purpose to your pain. It means your story isn't finished. And someone, somewhere, will one day draw strength from your survival. So no, the world might not notice your quiet strength right now. They might not see the tears you wipe away before stepping out the door. They might not hear the battles in your head or the doubts that try to break you. But you know what you've endured. You know what it's taken just to stand here today. You are not invisible. You are becoming someone stronger, deeper, wiser. You are becoming the version of yourself that doesn't just survive, but leads others out of the dark. And that journey, though lonely, is sacred. The world may not clap for you today, but one day your silence will speak louder than any applause. One day, the strength you built in the dark will be the light that guides someone else home. And on that day, everything you went through will make sense. So breathe, hold your ground, and remember, the world doesn't always see you, but your fight is still real. And more importantly, you are real. You are valid. You are worthy. And you are never, ever alone. There's a moment in every silent battle where it feels like you've hit a wall, like you've tried everything, given everything, and still nothing changes. You're tired, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like your soul is running on empty. And in that moment, the thought creeps in, what's the point? That's where most people stop, right there, at the edge of exhaustion, at the edge of hope. That's the place where dreams die quietly, where goals are buried under doubt, where people give up not because they're weak, but because they're overwhelmed, undersupported, and mentally drained. But if you're hearing this, it means you haven't let go. You might be hanging by a thread, but you're still here, still searching, still hoping that somewhere, deep beneath the heaviness, there's a reason to keep going. And there is, because the wall you've hit, it's not the end, it's the test. The breaking point is where most stop, but it's also where you rise. There is something powerful that happens when a person reaches the edge and refuses to break. That moment right there is the moment you meet your real self. Not the version shaped by fear. Not the version shaped by opinions, by pressure, by circumstance, but the version that is raw, honest, and unshakable. And you don't need to have it all figured out to keep going. You just need one more step, one more breath, one more push. Because no matter how dark it gets, there is always a flicker of light. Maybe it's buried under layers of pain. Maybe you haven't seen it in a while. But it's there, and it gets brighter every time you decide not to quit. You were not made to break. You were made to bend, to stretch, to fall, to feel, to struggle, but not to break. Resilience isn't about having no pain. It's about finding power in the middle of it. It's about using that pain to sharpen your focus, deepen your purpose, and build something inside that no one can take away. That's what you're doing right now. Even if it doesn't look like progress, even if your steps are small, even if you're crawling through the day with no energy left to stand tall, you're still moving forward. And that counts. It all counts. So many people look for strength in the wrong places. They look for it in perfection, in performance, in applause. But true strength, the kind that lasts, is built in the shadows, in the silence, in the moments when you choose to keep fighting, even when no one sees you. And I promise you this, every ounce of effort you give now, every tear you've cried in silence, every time you got back up after falling apart, none of it is wasted. You're being shaped, molded, refined by fire. And though it hurts now, one day you'll look back and see it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You weren't forgotten, you were being forged. So keep going, even if it's slow, even if no one notices, even if the progress feels invisible. The only thing that matters is that you don't stop here, because the person you're becoming is stronger than anything you've faced. And yes, it's hard, it's heavy, it's unfair. But so are most things that make us grow. Comfort never changed anyone. It's the pressure that transforms coal into diamonds. It's the weight that builds the muscle. It's the struggle that reveals the strength. So breathe, stand. Clench your fist if you have to. Cry if you must. But do not give in, because you've come too far to only come this far. You're not just surviving, you're learning how to rise. You're learning how to fight with faith, not just force. You're learning that storms don't last forever, And even the darkest clouds can't block the light that's inside you. Your story matters. Your strength is real. And your breakthrough might be one more step away. Hold on. Because something powerful is being born in you. And when it reveals itself, you'll understand why you had to walk through the fire to become who you were always meant to be. You've walked through storms most people couldn't handle. Not because you had all the answers, but because deep down you refused to let the pain define you. And maybe no one ever told you this, but that decision to keep going, even when your heart is shattered, is the mark of someone extraordinary. It's easy to believe that strength is about always standing tall, always knowing what to do. But real strength is different. It's built in the mess. It's found in the moments when your voice shakes, your hands tremble, and your hope is hanging by a thread, but still you rise. Not because it's easy, but because something inside you says, I'm not done yet. You've already proven something powerful. Pain didn't stop you. It might have slowed you down. It might have bruised you, but it didn't break you. And if pain couldn't stop you, neither can doubt, neither can fear. Neither can the weight of other people's silence. What you've been through doesn't disqualify you, it prepares you. The tears, the trials, the nights you felt like giving up, they've all been building something stronger than what you see on the surface. A foundation, a fire, a force that doesn't need validation to know its worth. There's something sacred about suffering. Not because it's fair, not because you deserve it, but because of what it reveals. Because in the middle of pain, all the distractions fall away, and you're left with nothing but the truth about who you are and what you're made of. And that truth, it's this: you're not fragile, you're fierce. You've faced situations that tried to steal your voice, your joy, your reason to believe. But here you are, still breathing, still searching, still refusing to disappear into the darkness. That's courage. That's the kind of power no one can fake. The kind that grows in silence, when you keep going without applause, when you keep showing up for life even when life doesn't show up for you. And maybe it doesn't feel like you're winning right now. Maybe it feels like you're just surviving. But surviving when everything inside you wants to quit, that is a win. That is resilience. That is proof that you are not done. The world tells you to have it all together, to be strong without cracking, to smile through the storm and act like you're fine. But the truth is, healing doesn't look like perfection. It looks like showing up, tired, confused, afraid, and still refusing to let go of your future. You're not behind, you're not lost. You're rebuilding. And every moment you choose to keep walking through the fire, you're proving that your future means more than your fear. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be brave enough to take one more step, even if your legs are shaking, even if your heart is breaking, even if no one claps when you do. Because you're not doing this for recognition. You're doing it for freedom. For the day you wake up and realize you're not just surviving anymore, you're thriving. Not because the pain disappeared, but because it no longer controls you. That day is coming. That strength is already inside you. You don't have to chase it. You just have to remember it. You've been strong for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to be supported. But hear this. You are not alone in this fight. There are others who have walked through the fire and come out the other side. And one day someone will hear your story and find the strength to keep going because of you. So don't stop now. Don't give your pain the final word. Don't let the quiet moments of despair erase the truth of your power. You are becoming something unshakable. Not because life made it easy, but because you chose to rise when it wasn't. Because you decided that your future was worth the fight. Because somewhere deep inside, you knew this truth. You weren't made to be broken. You were made to break through. Breakthrough doesn't come when life gets easier. It comes when you get stronger. When the pain that once made you crumble becomes the fuel that lifts you higher. When the same weight that used to bury you becomes the reason you rise with fire in your eyes. You may not see it yet, but that shift is already happening inside you. Every time you've whispered, I can't do this, and still did it anyway, you were transforming. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this battle. A version that doesn't just endure, but leads. A version that doesn't second-guess every move, doesn't shrink in the face of fear, doesn't apologize for needing healing. That version of you is being built with every tear, every restless night, every lonely moment that didn't break you. It's time to stop measuring your progress by how easy things feel. Growth isn't always comfortable. Most of the time, it feels like chaos. It feels like doubt. It feels like walking through fog without a map. But just because you can't see the destination doesn't mean you're not moving. You're not stuck. You're in the middle of becoming. And becoming takes time. The world won't always understand your process. That's okay. You don't owe anyone a perfect narrative. You don't have to explain why some days are heavier than others. You don't have to defend the pace at which you heal. Progress isn't linear. Some days you'll feel like you've taken 3 steps forward. Others like you've fallen 10 steps back. But as long as you refuse to quit, you are still in the game. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you unstoppable. You weren't built for ease, you were built for endurance. The kind of endurance that refuses to back down when the storm rolls in. The kind that still shows up when motivation disappears. That's what real power looks like. Not perfection, not control, but consistency, discipline, courage in the face of silence. If you've ever wondered why your journey feels harder than everyone else's, remember this. Some people are called to carry more because they're meant to lead more. You weren't chosen for comfort, you were chosen for purpose. And purpose doesn't show up with a blueprint. It shows up as a fire inside your chest, a whisper in your soul that says, there's more for me than this. You are not here to merely survive what broke you. You are here to turn it into fuel. You are here to transform your scars into symbols of strength. The world needs your story, not the polished version, the real one, the one with the struggle, the setbacks, the silence, the one that proves healing is possible even in the darkest places. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are not failing because you're tired. You're human. And the fact that you're still showing up, still breathing, still hoping, that's the evidence of something unshakable inside you. You've outlasted things that once threatened to destroy you. That's not weakness. That's grit. Don't wait until you're healed to see your value. Your broken pieces still carry purpose. Your uncertainty still holds power. You don't have to be fearless to move forward. You just have to decide that where you're going matters more than what you're afraid of. There's a world beyond the pain. A version of life that feels lighter, freer, fuller. It's not a fantasy. It's not reserved for people who've never struggled. It's waiting for you. But it will only appear when you stop running from your struggle and start standing in your strength. You've come too far to stop now. You've carried yourself through the worst days of your life. Don't let doubt win now. Keep walking. Keep breathing. Keep fighting for the person you promised yourself you'd become. There is more in you, more courage, more clarity, more light. It's been buried under the weight of what you've endured, but it's not gone. It's waiting to be claimed, and every step you take in faith, even if it's shaky, is one step closer to a life that feels like yours again. So stand up, even if you have to do it slowly. Speak life over yourself. Even if your voice shakes, believe, even if it feels impossible. Because what you believe in this moment will shape what comes next. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the one writing the next chapter. And it starts with the choice to keep going. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but relentlessly. You don't need anyone's permission to become everything you were meant to be. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or for someone to finally understand you. You don't need more approval, more applause, or more clarity. What you need is already inside you. The will to rise, the decision to stand, the fire that refuses to be put out no matter how long it's been in the dark. That's your permission. That's your signal. That's your sign. The life you want won't be handed to you. It won't come easy. But it will come when you stop settling for less than you deserve. When you stop shrinking to fit into places that were never meant for your greatness. When you stop telling yourself that your pain disqualifies you, instead of realizing it's been the very thing building you for your purpose. You've been told too many times to stay quiet, to just be grateful, to wait your turn. But your time is now. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've outgrown staying silent about your strength. You've been through too much to pretend you are not powerful. You've sacrificed too much to act like you're not capable of more. This is not the season to hide. This is the season to become bold, to become relentless, to become everything you said you'd be when life tried to break you. You didn't come this far just to fade out. You came to rise. And rising isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to keep showing up, to hold your ground, to speak the truth even when your voice shakes, to keep the vision alive when no one else sees it but you. You are not chasing a fantasy. You are stepping into a future that you have the power to build, not with perfection, but with persistence, with hunger, with that relentless belief that you weren't made to settle. Because deep down, you know you were made to lead, to change, to impact. That's why it's been so heavy. That's why your battle feels so personal. Because your purpose is bigger than your pain. There are people waiting on the other side of your breakthrough. People who will rise because you refuse to fall. People who will believe because you didn't give up. You might not see them yet, but they exist. They're out there. And one day they'll look at your life as proof that it's possible to make it through hell and come out stronger, not weaker. Wiser, not broken. Bolder, not bitter. Don't let fear keep you grounded when you were born to rise. Fear will lie to you. It will whisper that you're not enough, that you're not ready, that you should wait until you feel stronger. But if you wait until you feel ready, you'll never move. Strength doesn't show up first, it's built in the action. It's built when you choose to go anyway, scared or not. It's built when you decide that your dreams deserve more than your doubts. And yes, the journey is hard. It will cost you comfort, convenience, and maybe even some relationships. But what you gain is worth more than what you lose. You gain yourself. your freedom, your voice, your fire. And no one can take that from you once you claim it. This is your moment. Not because everything is easy, but because you are ready. Ready to rise without needing a guarantee. Ready to move without waiting for the map. Ready to become who you were always meant to be, not in spite of the struggle, but because of it. So take that next step. Not tomorrow. Not when it's perfect. Now, even if your hands shake, even if the world doubts, even if the fear screams louder than your faith, move anyway, because your life is too important. Your voice is too powerful. Your impact is too necessary. You are not here to stay hidden in your pain. You are here to rise from it, to grow through it, to build something unshakable with it. And when the world sees what you've become, they won't see someone who had it easy. They'll see someone who earned every inch of their strength, someone who stood in the fire and didn't burn, but blazed. This is your time, not because the path is clear, but because you've decided to walk it anyway. Relentless, focused, unstoppable. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you kept going when everything told you to stop. You don't need to justify your resilience. You don't have to water down your truth so it's easier for others to digest. What you've survived, what you've overcome, what you're still standing in the middle of, that's your power. And you don't need anyone to validate it for it to be real. There's something unstoppable about someone who has nothing left to prove. Someone who knows the storm didn't take them out. Someone who's not trying to impress, but to impact. That's who you are becoming. That's why the pressure's been heavy. That's why the fight has felt long. Because this isn't about appearances. This is about substance. About becoming the kind of person who doesn't just get through life, but changes it. Your struggle has shaped you, not into something weak, but into something rare. Because while others hide from pain, you faced it. You've stared it down. You've learned how to breathe through it, walk through it, rise through it. That kind of strength can't be taught. It has to be earned. And you've been earning it every single day you chose to show up, when giving up would have been easier. There's something inside of you right now that refuses to be quiet. A whisper, a pull, a knowing. It's not just hope, it's your spirit reminding you that this is not the end. That what you feel now is not the full picture. That everything you've walked through has been preparing you for a moment bigger than your pain. You weren't created to stay in survival mode. You were created to lead, to rise, to live a life that lights a fire in others. And that doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you won't let fear be the one calling the shots anymore. It means you've decided that your dreams deserve to be louder than your doubts. The world needs people who have been through the dark and still chose to be light. People who have every reason to quit but choose to rise instead. That's who you are. That's what you've been becoming. And if no one else has told you this, you're doing better than you think. You're stronger than you feel. And your breakthrough is closer than it looks. This fight you're in is not a sign that you're losing, it's a sign that you're close to stepping into the next version of you. The version that doesn't flinch when things get hard. The version that knows their worth even when the world tries to forget it. The version that understands that pressure isn't punishment, it's preparation. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to grow into the person you're destined to become. And every setback, every delay, every closed door is not rejection, it's redirection. It's life positioning you for something greater than what you were willing to settle for. But here's the thing, no one can do this for you. No one can take the steps you refuse to take. No one can silence your doubts if you keep feeding them. You have to choose. You have to decide every single day to show up, to speak life over yourself, to move forward even when it hurts. Because it's not about feeling ready, it's about being willing. You have what it takes, not someday, not when things are easier, now. In the chaos, in the quiet, in the moments when no one sees your effort, but you keep pushing anyway. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. Because you know how to move without a crowd, how to grow without applause, how to rise without rescue. And soon, you'll look back and realize that what felt like breaking was actually building. That what felt like the end was the beginning. That every ounce of pressure was preparing you for a life that finally fits who you really are. So keep going. Not because it's easy, not because it's fast, but because you're not done yet. Because there's a future with your name on it. A future that doesn't just survive the storm, but commands it, walks through it, learns from it, and then leads others out of it. You are becoming unshakable, not because life has been kind, but because you refuse to let it make you bitter. Because you decided that your pain would not be your prison, but your platform. Because you believed in something greater than your fear. That belief that fire is what will carry you the rest of the way. And you're almost there. Not to a finish line, but to a freedom you've never known before. Keep walking. Keep rising. Keep becoming. Because your story is not over, it's just beginning. Every time you rise after being knocked down, you rewrite what strength really looks like. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet power that says, I'm still here. That resilience built through pain, shaped by pressure, and forged in silence is more powerful than any applause or recognition. You've earned that strength, not in moments of celebration, but in moments when no one saw the fight but you. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to take the next step. Willing to show up one more day. Willing to believe that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. Because once you make that choice, once you decide that your life has meaning beyond what tried to break you, everything begins to shift. You stop chasing approval and start standing in truth. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you and start realizing you've always had the power to save yourself. That realization changes everything. It puts the weight back in your hands not as a burden, but as ownership. The ownership to change, to grow, to become. No one promised the process would be painless, but you weren't made for ease, you were made for impact. Impact doesn't come through comfort. It comes through choosing purpose when it's inconvenient, through choosing discipline when you're tired, through choosing growth even when it hurts. That's where the fire is built. That's where legacy is formed. There's a reason you felt the tension. Growth always brings it, because to become more, something has to be left behind. Old thoughts, old fears, old versions of you that played small.
It's painful, yes, but necessary.
You cannot carry the weight of your future with the mindset of your past. Something has to shift. And that shift starts when you stop asking, why me? And start declaring, watch me. Watch me rise. Watch me push through. Watch me build when no one believes. Watch me move forward even when the path isn't clear. That's the declaration of someone who refuses to be defined by their past. That's the power of someone who has made peace with the pain and turned it into purpose. Let the world doubt you. Let them question your journey. Let them think it's impossible. Because what they don't see is your decision, your discipline, your drive. And those three things, when fueled by purpose, are unstoppable. They build empires out of ashes. They create momentum from nothing. They turn pain into power. And maybe the people around you don't see your progress yet. Maybe they don't understand your choices. But their understanding isn't required for your elevation. Their approval isn't necessary for your breakthrough. What matters is your why. What matters is your commitment. What matters is that you're no longer waiting for permission to become the version of yourself you were always meant to be. This is your season of becoming. Becoming bolder. Becoming braver, becoming the kind of person who no longer bends to fear or shrinks under pressure. And that kind of becoming doesn't happen overnight. It happens in every decision you make to show up, even when it's hard. It happens when you look at the mountain and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm climbing. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Present with your growth, present with your healing. Present with the process even when it's uncomfortable. Because every moment you stay in it, instead of running from it, is one more moment where your future is being built. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are on a path uniquely designed to shape you into the person who can carry the dream you've been given. And the weight of that dream, it's not crushing you, it's building you, preparing you for more, stretching you so that when the door opens, you're strong enough to walk through it and lead. Stop underestimating the value of your process. The long nights, the silent tears, the relentless effort. Every bit of it counts. Every bit of it matters. Your pain is not in vain. Your effort is not wasted. You are becoming the proof that healing is possible, that rising is real, that transformation isn't reserved for the lucky, it's reserved for the willing. So don't stop now. Don't shrink. Don't pause your momentum for people who can't see your vision. Keep going. Because everything you've walked through is leading somewhere better, somewhere brighter, somewhere that feels like freedom. And when you get there, you won't just be grateful, you'll be ready. Ready because you earned it. Ready because you endured. Ready because you refuse to quit. The battle is real, but so is your power. So is your purpose. So is the version of you waiting to be unleashed. Don't let fear steal one more moment. Stand, rise, breathe, move. The world hasn't seen your full strength yet, and it's time. You don't come this far to stop halfway. You didn't survive all that pain just to play small now. The storm didn't shape you so you could stay stuck in fear. Everything you've walked through, every scar, every tear, every battle you fought in silence was preparing you to lead a life that refuses to be average. And deep down, you know it. You know you weren't made to live on autopilot, to settle, to shrink your potential so others feel comfortable. You were made to break limits, to shake the ground with your steps, to create a ripple so powerful that others feel hope just by watching you rise. There is something extraordinary about someone who keeps going when everything says they shouldn't. That kind of person becomes unstoppable, not because they're unafraid, but because they've learned how to move anyway. You've become that person. Whether you feel it today or not, the fire inside you is growing. Every choice you've made to keep showing up has been feeding that fire. And it doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It just needs to be consistent. Quiet strength, repeated day after day, turns into a force no one can deny. Stop waiting for a perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is a lie. Growth isn't born from comfort, it's born from movement. You don't get confidence first. You earn it by doing the hard things scared. The version of you that you dream of becoming, that unshakable, focused, fierce version, won't appear overnight. You build them brick by brick, choice by choice. It happens in the days you want to quit but don't. It happens in the silence where no one sees your grind, but you keep going anyway. You are not invisible. Even if it feels like no one sees your effort, the universe does. Your energy speaks before your words ever will. Keep putting in the work. Keep showing up with integrity when it would be easier to cut corners. Keep pushing when your mind says stop. Because you're not just changing your life, you're shifting your legacy. This isn't about one goal. It's about becoming someone you're proud of. Someone who doesn't flinch when life throws more weight. Someone who knows how to carry it, not because it's easy, but because they've trained for it in the dark.